Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to filmmaking or you're about to shoot your very first music video, then stick around because I'm going to give you some important tips that'll help make your first project a success. So this past weekend, I shot a video for a client of mine, Noah the Great, and while I was shooting it, I thought it would be cool if I kind of did a behind the scenes kind of look into the process for coming up with the video, shooting, and editing. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into tip number 1, planning. So when you're planning with your client, you want to meet at least one time before you guys go out and shoot. So in this case, Noah came to my room and we studied the track. We kind of talked about the visions that the two of us had for this track, felt the vibes for the track, and overall just came up with the layout. In this process, I like to write things down in a little notebook, and I jot down stuff like types of transitions I want to use, what kind of effects we're going to put in, and figure out the angles and focal lengths and all this and that. This part takes some time. We probably sat down for at least 5 or 6 hours just kind of mapping things out, but it's going to make things a lot easier when you start to shoot. So now that we're talking about shooting, let's go ahead and talk about tip number 2, which is playing the track while you're recording. So no matter what, whenever you're shooting the client or your subject, make sure that the whole song is playing while he's or she is rapping or singing or whatever it is. This is important for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is because when you put the track into your timeline in Final Cut or Premiere, it'll be a lot easier to match waveforms or even just this, like the motion of their lips to the song itself. Tip number 3 is shooting in different locations. This tip is not a mandatory thing, but I think it'll help. I think it helps in general when you're watching something, because if you're just watching the same shot, one angle, one background, one location for 3 minutes or whatever, it's kind of boring. So I like to shoot in different locations, because even if we don't want to add too many effects or transitions, like cutting up the verse and putting different clips in to match the song, it can bring a little bit more liveliness to the video itself. And tip number 3, getting some B-roll. It's important to get some B-roll for the same reasons you kind of want to add different locations, is because it kind of gives more life to the video, and for me it's kind of an inside look for the viewer to see what was going on while you were shooting that clip. It's essentially secondary shot that will give more insight to the primary shots. So for music videos, right, the lyrics go something like, just got new shoes. Instead of just recording that part where the subject is talking or singing or rapping, you could just get a shot of the shoes and kind of pan up or whatever. In this case, what I was doing is while we were going to different locations, I was recording everything in between, so we could add that little bit of inside look to the viewer as we were shooting the video. So with those things in mind, let's go ahead and jump into Final Cut Pro and we'll start putting all these videos together. So first of all, I'm going to go to File, New Project. You can start a new library and then New Project, but for the sake of space, I just pull everything from my hard drive. We're going to name this Music Video Test, and regardless of the quality that I shot the actual footage in, I'm always going to set this to 4K, and my frame rate is going to be either 24 frames or 30 frames per second. The reason why we do that is because if you're uploading it to a website, if it's not going straight to your client, when you export, you're gonna lose some quality. So I always start with the highest quality I could possibly get. That way, when I upload it, it'll be at the highest possible quality after that downgrade. So now we're gonna click OK, and here is our timeline. So I'm going to start by finding a clip that I want to use, and so I'm going to drag that down into the timeline. I'm also going to drag the track that we're shooting for into the timeline, and we're basically going to match the waveforms from the video clip and match them as closely as we can to the waveforms on the audio track. Additionally, I know I'm going to add some intro titles, so I'm just going to drag this right there so I can get to it later. This is the longest part in setting up your music video. So what you got to do is match up your clips get the timing right, and continue that process until every single clip that you want is in the video. For me, the easiest way to do this is to just mash up the waveforms as closely as you can to each other and just play it back. There is a way you can snap the two waveforms together, but for the simple fact that I had a lot of background noise in these actual shots, like cars driving and everything, it's going to mess up the waveforms a little bit, so I don't want to take that risk, and I'm just going to do it this way. So go ahead and play your clips back, listen to the timing, and get that first clip down. So right there, the audio matches up with the video clip, and I'm going to keep adding all the shots that I got into the timeline until I'm happy with the audio. Make sure you guys take your time with this process. It's lengthy, it's annoying, it's tedious, but I promise you at the end of it all, you're gonna be glad that you did. Alright, so let's go back in and I'll show you guys what my timeline looks like. So earlier you guys saw that my timeline was essentially a bunch of long clips, not so much going on, but here's what it looks like now. So we got the music track at the bottom, all the video clips, the different layers, different effects up on top, and we're ready to rock and roll. So going back to the beginning of the video, I talked about a couple different things. One of the first things we talked about was getting with your client and talking about what you expect out of the video. So for this video, he wanted something that's just very chill, very relaxed, very cinematic. So you can see here that the angles we were shooting in, the backgrounds, the locations were very relaxed, very warm and welcoming. Some of the areas were a little bit cooler, but overall, that's what we did. We decided on how we wanted to shoot it. We shot it that way, and we're editing it that way. One of the other things we talked about was the overall layout of the video. So we didn't want too many special effects. So one of the things I did was I added in this little eye zoom transition. There we go. Another thing we did were these little bumps in the screen every time the bass dropped, because we both agreed that it was subtle, wasn't too crazy, but still adds a little bit more life to the video. It looks like this. So again, it's something subtle, but it still makes the video look really cool without taking away from the song itself. So one of the only other things I did was add this little like holographic TV glitch effect to it, and it looks like this. Simple, but still effective, and it still puts a lot of emphasis onto the song itself because it's not so distracting. Another tip we talked about was getting your B-roll, and the B-roll is good, especially in cases like this, because a lot of the shots we took were of Noah rapping to the camera, just shooting in different angles, but it's always Noah close up in his face, and you know, just matching up his lips to the track. So when you add a little bit of B-roll, it gives them an inside look of what's going on. So in this video, Noah's rapping, and I cut it off to throw that B-roll in, and here's him just having a conversation with his friends. And honestly, all we were doing at this point was talking about one of the other places that we wanted to go to next weekend. And then another B-roll right here shows Noah just kind of walking around, checking out the scene, again talking to his buddy, just walking, and it just adds more quality to the video. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'm gonna leave a link to Noah the Great's YouTube channel so you could watch the video up on his site. Don't forget, The Day Before the Flood, out now on all streaming platforms, so go check it out. And remember the name, Noah the Great. This guy's going to be one of the next biggest things. If you guys check out the video and you see something that you do want me to break down, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I get that video out to you guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.